dude, you will not believe what I was able to get a hold of. It took a lot of effort, but yeah,
Oh, hey man, I'm glad you're here. I think I've decided not to get the OLED. I've got this one, and it's not a huge upgrade. I like the screen and stuff, but it's just not worth it to me.
um, oh,
What's that you got?
nothing. Yeah, it was nothing. I gotta go. I gotta go back to a store and do a thing. I'll see you in a bit. Let's do some more videos in a minute. Hello, welcome back to Beards, Bourbon, and Games. I'm your co-host, Conquer Aquarium. With me, I have Mike, and our co-host, guest star, Nintendo. Not really. Nintendo. Please don't sue me. We have the Switch OLED. It is not the white one. But you know, it's kind of odd, because I dogged the PS5 for being white, and the first thing I said is I want a white Nintendo Switch OLED.
You know, I was the same way. I don't know why, but I think I like the way they made the white OLED Switch look. It's a lot smaller, it's a lot more compact. You don't always have it on your mantle, but with the PS5, it's so big and bulky, I guess. Maybe that's what it is.
Maybe the contrast, well, the PlayStation 5 was black and white.
I'll tell you, I bet what it is, to be honest with you, what might be is the odd colored Joy-Cons have always bothered me. I have never liked that. I don't know why. It's just something that's always been under my skin. I'm weird. I
preferred the gray ones, the original.
Yeah.
So, but I could only get the fun fact was the neon ones were the more rare ones back in 2017.
Yep.
I could not get a gray one. I ended up getting the neon color ones, and I hated it. So my buddy Grizzly happened to get a one with gray Joy-Cons. So I traded him my neon color
for the gray ones,
which I didn't charge them. I left them off my Switch, so they were dead when he got them. Grizzly, I'm still sorry about that.
You should be. What kind of monster gives somebody an uncharged controller?
I just noticed they look like they drop kicked this box.
It does. So this unboxing may be really short. We may open this up and it'd be cracked.
GameStop keep being you. All right, well, let's go ahead and get into it. Do the honors, Mike.
Pull out the knife of power.
Dangerous unbox alone. Take this.
So yeah, look at this. Look at this great power. As you can see, this is still sealed, GameStop.
I bet FedEx shipped that.
I bet you're right. So I guess this was number 12. I went out today and actually got this at GameStop. They actually had a bunch of them on release day. Everywhere else didn't. Myers, Best Buy, Walmart.
Or if you pre-ordered it from Walmart, like I did, it's not even being prepared to ship yet.
Yeah, this is a
Walmart?
sore subject. Sore subject. All right.
I was one of the ones to get a discount, though. So it's probably going to be the reason why they hadn't shipped it yet.
They may just cancel on it, which will be hilarious. So, first thing we see here, when we open it up, is instructions on how to plug it in. Plug it in and set it up. Okay, remove Joy-Cons. Instructions that we never actually read. So,
it's not an unboxing unless you go by your gut. I do like the unboxing presentation of this.
Ooh, this is very nice. Sony, what happened? Like, legitly, what happened? We spent all this time getting excited about your thing, and it's like, here's some cardboard and some cardboard. That barely holds it in. And like Xbox is like, oh, power of gaming.
And Nintendo's like, we're going to keep it basic, but it still looks... I've always liked unboxing Nintendo products. Yeah. I don't think I've ever been disappointed. Even back to the Super Nintendo unboxing when I did when I was still wet in the bed as a kid.
Whoops. So here is the console itself.
The tablet.
So there has been no tape so far, so knife of power hasn't been had to used. Hasn't been had to used. Hasn't had to be used.
Ooh, I like that.
All right, Joy-Con.
So it is worth noting, we will confirm this when we do the review, but I think they actually upgraded the Joy-Cons in these to where they're not as bad. I think they tried to address the Joy-Con drift, but just a heads up, I'm also reading that they redid the Joy-Con system, so your third-party Joy-Cons may not work on this model. We'll find out.
Find out. So we've got instructions. Here at BBG, we don't read instructions. Of course, you have your power cable, which is a standard USB-C, which works as a phone charger if you happen to be out of luck.
Really?
Yeah.
I've never used it on my phone.
I have had to.
So that looks like...
Of course, they give you an HDMI cable.
Did you know those HDMI cables can support 120 hertz on PC?
Those?
Yes.
Really?
Yep. I tested with a laptop once.
Good job. And controller.
So you can make the sad puppy dog.
The sad puppy dog.
Yeah, look at it. Sad puppy dog with ears.
Holy crap, it looks like a sad puppy dog. And
now this is the biggest feature besides it's a screen. They upgraded the dock. And we'll show you here in a minute what they did with this. Only Nintendo can make this a selling feature.
Yeah, right?
Got two USBs on the side, just like the standard Nintendo dock. But they did improve it because there's more space in this slot now. Because you remember one of the original complaints with the Nintendo Switch was the dock was scratching the screen.
Yep.
It's now got more of a clearing, but because of that, it's got more of a wobble.
Ooh. Beer Department of Games is looking for a new co-host. This one keeps breaking everything. Of course, I say that, and I can't seem to get this.
It's supposed to do that.
Okay, it's supposed to do that. So here on the back, here's another new feature. Of course, you have where you plug in your adapter, HDMI out to the TV, LAN port.
Ethernet. Only Nintendo can make an Ethernet port a selling point.
Holy crap, Corey, did you know that this has an Ethernet port on it?
So what they did is they basically took the USB slot that used to be in the back and they replaced it with the RJ45 connector. So
Do we know if this is gigabit?
I don't think so. We'll have to look.
We'll find out.
But for Smash players, that's a big deal because a lot of times you had to spend the $30 for the accessory to get that ability. That was one of the biggest gripes of the original Switch was they had to use Wi-Fi unless you paid $30 extra for a USB adapter. And USB over Ethernet still not as good as Ethernet, if that makes sense. But that's a big deal for competitive Smash players. Who got their final character, by the way?
Yeah, you gotta love that Sora.
I actually like that dock. The dock looks a little sharp.
Dock is nice. I don't know how I feel about this way this pops off instead of it just being like a hinge. The only reason why is because I lose stuff very easily, as this man can attest. Ooh.
Alright, so now we're going to get to the main course here. So you will notice that the screen is bigger. It's a 7-inch screen. And they definitely cut down on a lot of the bezels. It is a fingerprint magnet because that is very glossy here. And you can tell when I touch it, it just
Instantly.
My greasy Cheeto fingers just pop up instantly on that. Not a fan of that. I do not like fingerprint magnets, but
hopefully a screen protector will cut down on some of that.
the vent system is different. I am very glad for that because let me tell you, as an owner of one of the original Gen 1 Switches, my vent was breaking. It just broke.
Really?
Yes.
Just the plastic.
Plastic.
Got brittle and broke.
Yep. They did redo the power buttons and the volume buttons. I like that. That feels really nice. But the biggest feature, the new kickstand, which has a Surface-like approach. And I'm a huge fan of the Surface tablets. I love them. And I think this was really smart because look how far this thing can kneel down.
Oh, wow. That is really cool, actually.
So you have much more flexibility of how you want to angle in tabletop mode. And that is really cool. And it's not flimsy either. So I can that was the original Switch, it would have broke off.
Yeah. I was always worried about my original kickstand just like snapping.
And they also hid all the legal information behind this.
Oh,
so you
that's
don't see
neat.
all the text on the back anymore. And that's a metal like. It's an alloy, like a aluminum maybe, or something like that.
Micro SD on the back.
Yeah, so micro SD card slot is improved. It's got kind of a new approach there. I like that.
I really like the feel of this.
It has a much more premium feel to it because you got the metal now, and I don't know if that still feels like plastic.
Yeah,
That's
this is plastic. This is metal.
Yeah.
Wow, it's actually really nice.
Now, another thing they said is that they've reinforced the Joy-Con rails, so it shouldn't wobble as much as the original Switch did. It's supposed to fit nice and snug.
Well, they lied about that. We've already got a little bit of wobble.
What? Nintendo bending the truth? I don't know. That feels a lot more stable than the original.
That's true.
But I do feel the wobble like you're talking about.
It's down at the bottom.
One thing I'm really curious is, will this model warp over time?
Ooh.
You remember that issue with the original Switches? I wonder if it'll do the same. And I hate this about myself, but I am incredibly paranoid about things like that. Like, I constantly look at a Switch like this to see if I can see it curve. It's madness. Once you do it, you'll always do it. But it's heavier. It's got a little bit more weight to it than other Switches. It feels like we'll do a much more in-depth comparison, but it's very premium. Now, one of these will set you back $350. If you got an existing Switch, you could probably easily trade in or sell your Switch.
Yeah.
And make up the cost. If you have a Switch, unless you play a lot of handheld mode, you'd probably be hard pressed. Which we'll go into that. We'll compare the screens, see what they look like. This is not a review video. This is just kind of an unboxing.
Initial thoughts.
And I've gotten my fingerprints all over it. But yeah, all in all, I think it's a good piece of hardware. I mean, Nintendo doesn't make bad hardware.
No, they don't.
It's always good. It's just the question becomes, I guess, is it worth it? Is it worth the money you pay for it to get it? And we'll find that out in another video. But
All right, so let's look at the dock.
I'm really interested to see how this plays out because I know earlier reviews have said that they've cleared a lot more space to allow clearing in the dock. So that leads to wobbling.
Is that in all the way?
Yeah, it sticks up further and it wobbles more because they gave it more of a clearing. But they did this to address the issue that a lot of the switches, Gen 1 switches, I'm gonna call them Gen 1 switches, suffered from the screens getting scratched from undocking and docking.
That's a lot of wiggle.
I just feel like if you bump the table a good way, it just jumps out. I wonder if if it'll disconnect if it wiggles too much from the audio signal.
I kind of feel like it doesn't really feel like it's plugging in. Look at that. Yeah, I don't know how I feel about that. Well, what do you think?
I think it's a good console. Nintendo always makes great handhelds. They've never disappointed me when it comes to hardware. This is one. However, if you already own one of these, I think you'll find yourself hard pressed to pay the $350 because keep in mind the internals are the same. Same graphic performance, same CPU. The only difference is they have added a 64 gigabyte storage, internal storage, which is not really an issue on these because you can just expand it with the SD card. Same
Right.
with this one. The kickstand is amazing.
Yes.
The OLED screen, we haven't dived into that yet, but I hear it's really good. So if you're a handheld player, like, I'm a dad, my daughter takes my main TV a lot and watches shows and stuff. Just a lot of times I don't get to play my standard console, so I play in handheld mode a lot. I think it might be beneficial, especially if you can sell your Switch, which right now the market, you get a pretty good price for your original Switch. You probably get easily $200 out of your Switch, out of your Gen 2, I know for sure.
Right.
That's the one with the extended battery. So, and at the time of this video, GameStop is giving $220 trade-in value. So if you can trade in your old Switch towards this Switch, that's great. Just keep in mind about the transferring your Nintendo accounts. There are some tricks to making it your primary console when you do that, if you don't transfer it console to console. So, but I think if you can sell your Switch, it makes it a much more easier jump. But it's hard to press, you know, it's hard to just, I feel like this was kind of like a halfway upgrade, and I get it. There's a component shortage. I mean, it's just the crappy situation we find ourselves in today. I think it would have been much more of a wow if it was actually a Switch Pro with an upgraded processor, upgraded graphics, especially when you got things like the Steam Deck on the horizon. That I'm looking forward to getting my hand on one of those things.
I'm so excited. We got a lot of plans for that sucker.
But don't let me discourage you. It's not a negative feedback by any means. It's a good console. It's just, it's hard to
justify if you already have one. The upgrades they did to the Switch, like the kind of creature comforts. I mean, the extra kickstand is amazing. I love this. That is just cool to me. That being metal, it's very, very sturdy. The extra screen, the beautiful OLED, and the OLED takes a lot more power too. That's something we're going to find out in our review, is how much is the battery life actually going to last with something like that. Because OLED does drain a lot more power. Earlier reports are saying it's about the same as as the second gen, because of the extra power consumption that the OLED takes. I like a lot of the stuff they did, but I have to completely agree that if you already have one of these two, it may not be worth the money to buy this.
Especially if you play in docked mode all the time. If you're a handheld player and you play exclusively in handheld mode, absolutely, because, and we'll show this, the brightness playing outdoors on this one is leagues better than these two.
Yes.
By a long shot.
There's a lot of good things to each. It's kind of hit and miss. It's just kind of your personal preference. I really like the presentation of the box. I like how beautiful everything is. I don't like that this is a fingerprint magnet, but those can kind of be too. I've got screen protectors on those to kind of help cut down that. I'm glad that the Joy-Cons are still interchangeable. I was worried that wasn't going to happen, because at first glance they looked a little bit bigger. If you like the upgrades, the stand, if you play a lot of Smash online and you need the extra Ethernet port, probably go for it. Especially if you can trade your Switch in at this point. Or if you don't have a Switch, that's something to cover. If you don't have a Switch, spend the extra $50, get the better Switch.
Yes.
If you do have one, maybe hold off. Maybe try to trade it in if you really want it. So we'll do a more in-depth review of kind of comparison between the two, four, I guess, technically now. Get a little more of an idea of, hey, this console does have a better battery life than this. It does work. It does last on average, this one, from our tests. So, well, you got anything else to add?
Nope, but stay tuned for our in-depth review, where we dive in a little bit deeper. We're going to compare the screens, compare the battery life. Keep an eye out for that video, and we'll let you know our scientific analysis.
Ooh.
If you like this video, be sure to smash that like button, leave a comment down below. Let us know what you think of this Switch OLED. Is it a worthy upgrade, or is Nintendo pulling a different colored Game Boy approach with the Switch? That's kind of what it reminds me of. But if you want to see more content like this, we have a ton of reviews where we've reviewed the Xbox Series X, we reviewed the PlayStation 5. If you don't have one, which is still quite a few people, and you want to know the initial thoughts of it, check that out. But as always, I'm your co-host, Conquer Corey.
And I'm Mike.
And we'll
See ya.